We are in Parashat Kedoshim. Very, very important to know, we are in Eretz Israel, we read Parashat Kedoshim. In the diaspora, they read Parashat Achreimot. Yesterday we posted online the Zohar class of Kedoshim. We got a lot of emails. Whoa, why are you going to Kedoshim? Because you are in Achreimot, we are in Kedoshim. For us, Pesach ended on Friday, so Shabbat was a parasha. For the diaspora, Shabbat was still a Yom Tov, so they're stuck 1 week behind. Now we are going to be a week ahead of the diaspora till the end of the, almost till the end of the summer, till we merge parashot. So we're always going to be 1 step ahead. This is just to hint to us what we just spoke about, that Israel is always 1 step ahead. But nevertheless, we are in Parashat Kedoshim, and just the name of the parasha already tells us the content. Kedoshim, holy. The parasha starts and ends with the same commandment that we have to be holy. And we want to talk about what does it mean to be holy and how is that affecting me and how can the Torah expect me to be holy. When I go to a great rabbi, not too long ago, I went to visit Rav Abuchatzera, David Abuchatzera in Nahariya, and you look at the person, it's a man, but you see Kedusha. Kedusha, holiness. You're saying, Ze Adam Kadosh. This is a holy man. We don't call him Chacham, a smart man. I know many smart politicians. I know very smart lawyers also. But we don't call him a Chacham or a great scholar. Tzaddik. And what do we call him? Kadosh. Kadosh is not necessarily holy. Kadosh is also mainly is separated. That you're separated from anything else. You separate something. And when you're looking at a holy person, what makes the person holy? Why is he separated than me? That's a big question. Why? Because they're in a very high spiritual level. When you go to a great tzaddik, and most people will go to get a blessing, to get advice, to ask a question. Why do you go to this individual? Because he's holy, hu kadosh. What does it mean? He's in a higher level. It's not a simple person, and his level of observance is a very high level. This week's parasha comes and confuses us. Because for me, if you tell me a person, Adam Kadosh, I will imagine in my mind the Baba Sali, the Ben Ish Chai, Lubavitch Rabbi, Rabbi Nachman, we didn't see with our own eyes. These names that I just mentioned, we saw with our own eyes. Of course, Rabbi Nachman, Dari Kadosh, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We don't have videos of them. We didn't hear their voices. Baba Sali, people saw him. We have videos of him. The Lubavitch Rebbe, there's videos of him. Ben Ish Chai, we have pictures of him. We have recordings of his voice. This is Adam Kadosh, a holy person. But comes now this Torah, this parasha, and it's confusing me because he's telling me that all of us are Kedoshim. All of us. You should be Kedoshim. So I'm also a Kadosh. I'm also holy. I don't think I'm so holy. If you would be able to read people's minds, I don't think you're going to think they're holy. And you see how people behave? I don't see Kedusha here. How is the Torah coming and telling me that we should all be Kedoshim? I understand if the Torah would say, Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron, I want you to be Kedoshim, and Kol Hashar, all the rest, you're the regular ones. The Torah comes and tells me, you're all holy. So the Torah is coming and confusing me. Now the way it works, when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain, this is something that most people forgot. It's very important to remind us. When Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain the first time, do you know what was the first thing that he told us? A commandment that he came down with, a message? V'tiyu li atem mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. You should be a nations of priests, but a holy nation. This is where the commandment comes that we have to be a light to the nations. Something that was neglected for 3,400 years. That we are just isolated, and I'm not trying to find excuses right now why or what, but we are not fulfilling the commandment that we have to be a light to the nation. But nevertheless, Moshe Rabbeinu comes down from the mountain, and what does he tell us? That we have to be a separated nation. Goy Kadosh. People say the word goy, they think it's a derogatory word. Goy is not a derogatory word. Goy means a body. That's the word in Hebrew. A body in Hebrew is gviyah. Goy is a body. And we are also a goy. We're all goyim. It says in the Torah, Ki goyim ha'item be'eretz nochriya. We're also. But the Torah comes and says, you are goy kadosh. You are separated. Exactly like here in Eretz Israel, when we separate ma'asrot, then you separate a piece. This goes to the Kohen. This is kadosh. This is hekdesh. Moshe Rabbeinu comes down from the mountain. He tells you have to be a goy kadosh. Now imagine what's going on 3,500 years ago. Everybody's looking at each other. Kadosh. What's kadosh? Moshe, can you tell us what it means to be kadosh? Moshe Rabbeinu says, yes, it will take me 40 years to explain to you, but you have to be kadosh. Okay, what is the purpose of the Jew? To be kadosh, to be holy. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu comes down with a message from the mountain. Okay, so everybody's turning to Moshe, but how? How do I have to be kadosh? What does the Torah want me to do in order for me to be kadosh? And especially I'm not worth saying the word holy, because holy doesn't justify the name kadosh, because kadosh really means something that is separate from others. Now we had Pesach, we prayed in Tfilat Musaf, Atam bechartanu mikol ha'amim. You have chosen us from all the nations. Ahavta otanu, ratzita banu, and so forth. Romamtanu mikol ha'leshonot. You loved us, you separated us, you elevated us. Hashem separated us. Does it mean that I'm better than any other person? No. It just means that Hashem separated us. To do a certain task, it doesn't mean that Hashem loves me more than somebody else. Nevertheless, Moshe Rabbeinu comes with a commandment. Now we're standing with our mouth open. How am I going to be kadosh? What's the definition of being kadosh? Comes Parashat Kedoshim and explains to us. Very simple. We have a very short parasha, 60 chapters. One of the most shortest parashot in the Torah, but nevertheless packed with mitzvot. 51 mitzvot in one parasha. Now it's not the parasha that has the most mitzvot, but if you're looking in ratio, because the parasha is extremely short, so for the length of the parasha, we have the most mitzvot in such a short parasha. But nevertheless, comes Parashat Kedoshim and says, I will explain to you how to be kadosh, how you do your job. Now Rashi says that the parasha is one of the yesodot of the Torah, the foundations of the Torah. It's hard to say the most important parasha, because one can argue, one can say maybe Yitro is the most important, is the Ten Commandments, maybe Parashat Beshalach, we go out of Mitzrayim, maybe Parashat Bereshit, the creation of the world. But Rashi says this is one of the Yesodot, the foundation of the Torah, which is Parashat Kedoshim, an extremely important parasha. In most cases we read it attached to Achreimot. This year we have the pleasure and the honor to read it separately. Comes this parasha and is teaching us how can I be kadosh. Now not only how, that the Torah is telling me you are and you can. The Kedoshim is not necessarily the Baba Sali or Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai or the Ari Kadosh. This is another funny way of saying it. When we're referring to some holy men, we call them Ari Kadosh or Achaim Kadosh. Why? They're separated. Nevertheless, all the mitzvot that we do in the Torah are very important, but they're part of one title, one essence. And that is to be holy, to be kadosh. And this is where it comes to confuses us, because not only the tzaddikim are kadoshim, also us, we are also kadoshim. Now go figure out, what does the Torah want from me? I am kadosh. I don't know about you. I can only tell you about me. I don't think I'm so holy. I don't think I still have my thoughts. I think I have my desires. I still have all sorts of internal battles with my midot that I have to fight all day long, of anger and being jealous, judgmental, impatient, and angry. I don't think I'm so holy. I'm trying, but who says that I'm kadosh? So we have to now explain, what does the Torah want from me? Because really, when you're thinking about it, how can you be holy? You're living in this world. Constantly things are triggered in front of you that will cause you to lose your anger, to be impatient, to be judgmental, not to do a certain mitzvah. It's not only my midot. Sometimes a person can come to you and ask for tzedakah, and you don't have a good day this morning. You didn't wake up on the right leg. Get away from here. I don't want you. Leave me alone. Oh, why are you attacking the poor person? He just wanted a few shekels to buy something to eat. Why are you missing this opportunity to do a mitzvah? So, before, technically, and actually, how can I be kadosh? I'm living in this world, I'm distracted all day long with a lot of distractions. I have to pay my bills, my mortgage, my rent, my car loan, whatever it is. I have to work. If I have to work, I'm outside in the streets. How can I be so holy? So the Torah comes and explains that to me. When you're thinking about this mitzvah of being kadosh, it seems like it's above our ability. If you, what they say in English, let's cut to the chase. No, let's not pretend. Some people pretend that they're holy. Okay, if you want to pretend, that's your problem. But when you're looking at practically, how can I be kadosh? How can I become one? So, this specific mitzvah that we read in this parasha, that we all have to be kedoshim, it says, Daber el kol adat bnei Israel. Speak to all the congregation of Israel. That's how the commandment is. There's only twice in the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu was instructed to gather everybody. One of them is in Vayakel, Parashat Vayakel, gather everybody together. And in this parasha, it was never said like that. This is the second time, it's actually the first and only time that Hashem tells Moshe, Daber el kol adat bnei Israel. In Parashat Vayakel, Moshe says that and he gathers everybody. This is the first and only time that Hashem instructs Moshe, gather everybody. I want you to tell this commandment to everybody together. And what's so special about this commandment? The commandment, of course, is Kedoshim Tiyu. You have to be holy. And why specifically this parasha? Hashem wants from us something, obviously. Something so important that he makes sure that we all gather together. If I want to give now a message to the congregation or to the community, sometimes I will come and tell one part of the congregation one message, then to the next part of the community a different message. But imagine now I want to make a message that I want everybody to hear. Then I will gather everybody I have to say an announcement. Sometimes we make an announcement before the class, sometimes after the class, sometimes the announcement has nothing to do with the ladies. I tell it to the men, and vice versa. But if I want to announce something important, I tell everybody, please come at 8 o'clock today, I have to give an announcement. Moshe Rabbeinu says, I have an announcement. Everybody has to gather together, which means that Hashem wants something from us. If we see clearly in the Torah that Hashem has gathered over all of us, must be that Hashem wants something from us, and we want to find out what is this desire that Hashem is gathering everybody together, and He wants to give us this commandment of to be holy. Which, when you're thinking about it, the main part of Judaism is not the details. A lot of people are very fixed on the details, how they do every mitzvah, which is very good. You have to be particular. You can't invent ways to do the mitzvot. But the main part of Judaism is not the details. The details are creating it. Rather, it's the klal, the general part, that all the details are making one big essence in Judaism, and that is that Hashem is commanding us to be holy. And again, Hashem separated us from the nations, and fairly Hashem also went to all the other nations and offered them the opportunity. But nevertheless, Hashem segregated us and He separated us. And He says, I want you to be kadosh. I want you to be holy. Just that we understand how the situation worked, the Talmud in Masechet Eruvin comes and tells us how it worked. Moshe Rabbeinu gave us the Torah. Now, we know that the nation of Israel was in the desert for 40 years. They didn't get everything in one shot. They got the 10 commandments. And then every day Moshe Rabbeinu would go out of the tent and start teaching another halakha. 40 years it took them. It wasn't that they got it all in one shot and then they were just hiking in the desert. The Talmud says in Tractate Eruvin, Moshe Rabbeinu would go into Ohel Moed, into the tent. He will hear a few halachot from Hashem, come out, and then he would call Aaron HaKohen. And he would teach it to Aaron HaKohen, one-on-one. Then they will call the sons of Aaron HaKohen, and Moshe Rabbeinu would teach it to the sons of Aaron, and Aaron was present there too. So for Aaron is already the second time that he heard it. For Moshe Rabbeinu, the third time. For the sons of Aaron, first time. Then they would call in the Shivim Zkenim, the elderlies. And Moshe Rabbeinu again will say that. And then it means Aaron already heard it 3 times, the sons of Aaron 2 times, and the Zkenim the first time. And they would so forth give it over till it will come out to the nation, and that didn't come out. Moshe Rabbeinu was the head of the yeshiva, but he wouldn't teach everybody. The Shivim Zkenim would go out and start spreading the word. and the message went, so to say, in groups. It didn't come in one shot. This parasha was given in a ma'amad, in a congregation that is together. Vayakhel. Everybody has to stand there. It wasn't that Moshe said, Aaron, let me tell you, let's tell the sons of Aaron, let's tell the Shivim Zkenim. Moshe comes out of the tent, everybody come together. So we know that this parasha was said b'ma'amad vayakhel, in a state of everybody has to be gathered together. And comes many questions in our commentary. Why dafka this parasha had to be said in a position of vayakhel, that everybody's there? So the Al-Sheikh says, you know why? So nobody can come and say, I wasn't in that meeting. Because when the Torah says, Tiyuk atem kedoshim, kol adat b'nei Israel, all the congregation, all the nation has to be holy. Now Sheikh says, if somebody would not be there, say, hey, it wasn't talking to me. So you know who's there? Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron HaKohen, so to say the top of the nation, and all the way to the most simplest people, children, women, everybody was there. So nobody can come and say, Hashem wasn't talking to me. Oh, no, Hashem was talking to you too. When Hashem says to be Kadosh, you were there too. Kol adat b'nei Israel. So in this specific commandment, there's no difference between Aaron and Moshe Lezuchmin that was just sweeping there the floor. Everybody's the same when it comes to Parashat Kedoshim. Now, what's not so clear in this parasha is that there isn't a specific mitzvah in this parasha that explains to me what it means to be Kadosh. There's beautiful mitzvot in this parasha. V'ahavta l'cha kamocha. There's simple mitzvot like shatnez, can mix wool and linen, can steal, can lie. I mean, there's beautiful mitzvot. But from all 51 mitzvot in this parasha, there's not one specific mitzvah that tells me, do this and this is how you're going to be holy. I understand many other of the mitzvot. There's the mitzvah of leket and pe'ah, and there's a lot of mitzvot. I told you, 51 mitzvot in one short parasha. 60 psukim, that's the whole parasha. This Shabbat, Kriyat Torah will go very fast. But nevertheless, what's not so clear in this parasha, that I don't have a specific mitzvah that defines, this is the mitzvah that will make you holy. So this is a very basic question. Okay, you just told me, Kedoshim tiyu, be holy. How? What do I need to do? What is the commandment for me to be holy? Now, in order for me to understand what it means kadosh or kedusha, holiness, I need to first understand what's not kadosh. That's the easiest way to figure it out. If I know what is not holy, then I'll know what it means to be holy. So what is not holy? What is lo kedusha? What is something that is not holy? So there's a story about a certain individual. Was a great tzaddik, and he wanted to know who's going to be his neighbor in Gan Eden, because he knew he was a humble individual, but nevertheless he knew he's a tzaddik, and he knew he's a great scholar in the Torah, and he was very curious. I wonder who's going to be my next door neighbor in Gan Eden. So he made what's called a she'elat chalom, that you ask a question before you go to sleep, and you know what? In his dream came the vision of the person and the name and the location where the person lives. Ooh, he wakes up in the morning, I want to go and meet my future next door neighbor. He packs his bags, takes the horse and buggy, and he goes and travels to the city, to the little town where he saw the vision where that person is. He comes to the town, all excited, and he tells them, where's the tzaddik? Where's the tzaddik? They're telling him a tzaddik. There's no tzaddik in this town. No, come on, no, the great Moshe had tzaddik. Sir, we think we have a mistake here. There's no tzaddik in this town. This is a very simple town. People here are farmers and very simple people. We have some people who, the very, very basic people. We have a shoemaker, we have a shochet. I mean, we don't have any tzaddikim here. He says, no, he must be such a great tzaddik that he's so humble, nobody even knows that he's a tzaddik. Okay, where's the chacham? Where's the great rabbi of the town? Moshe. Sir, we told you, there's no rabbi here. It's a very small, simple town. Oh, I know. He must be such a humble person that he doesn't even say to everybody how great he is. That's why he's probably going to be my neighbor in Gan Eden. Where's Moshe? Ah, you're looking for Moshe. Go to the end of the village, the last house. This is where Moshe lives. Knocks on the door, opens up a guy, like a 6'8" guy, 200 pounds, big guy. Says, are you Moshe? Yes, I'm Moshe. Tells him, well, I'm so-and-so, and I found out that we're going to be neighbors in Gan Eden. He's like, okay, come in. Can I offer you something to eat? So he says, you know what, maybe I'll stay here for 2 days. I will observe what this man is doing. If he's my neighbor in Gan Eden, must be that something, maybe he's from one of the 36 hidden tzaddikim. Must be something going on there. Do you mind, Moshe, if I stay here for 2 days? Bakasha, go ahead. And the 2 days, he's observing what Moshe is doing. And you know what he's doing all day long, every day? He's just eating. Eating, and eating, and eating, and eating. And after 2 days, he's like, I don't understand. I got clear message from Shamayim, you are my neighbor in Gan Eden. What are you doing? You're just eating all day long. He says to Moshe, I don't understand. How come you're going to be my neighbor? What are you doing? Are you doing some mitzvah? Moshe tells him, you know what I do? I eat every day, you're right. But you know what? I eat l'shem shamayim. Oh, you eat l'shem shamayim. For the sake of shamayim, for the sake of heavens. Why do you eat l'shem shamayim? So Moshe says, when I was a little kid, I went with my father to pray in one of the synagogues for Shabbat service. On the way back, a group of non-Jews heckled us. And they were beating up my father, insulting us, humiliating us. And they beat up my father so strong that by the time we came home, my father died from his wounds. And I made a promise that I'm going to become so strong and so big that when they're coming to kill me, they're not going to be able to kill me so easy. I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be beating them up, and I'm going to be fighting till they kill me. So then he understood, now I understand why you're with me in Gan Eden. Because not only did you eat l'shem shamayim, you're eating for the sake that you don't want to be separated from Hashem. It's important to you that you are a Jew and you're willing to die. All your life, you are waiting for the moment that you might have to die because they're going to come and kill you, because that's the trauma you had when you were a little kid, and every bite that you take is l'shem shamayim. I'm going to show them. And he understood why he's going to be with him in Gan Eden. So, this is the first thing of not being holy. It means don't quit and don't give up. Not to let go. That's where he understood, who's going to be with him in Gan Eden, but for us to understand what does it mean not holy, it means don't separate yourself, don't give up. Or in Hebrew it says, lo lifrosh. Don't move yourself away. Now I'll explain a little bit more what I mean. We think, especially if you go and look at other nations, if you go now to any other religion, what is a holy person? If it's a monk, he's on some mountain, he's meditating all day long, he doesn't have a wife, he doesn't have kids, he doesn't have a job, he's praying, serving, meditating. Look, even in other faiths, go like, a priest, a reverend, they usually will be not married, separated. This is not the Torah. Torah doesn't tell you separate yourself from the world. So we think that a holy person is disconnected from the world. I've been to the Far East. I traveled in many different places, and you see there the Tibetan monks or whatever. They're separated from the world. They don't have a watch. They don't have an iPhone. They don't even know anything. They don't even have a bank account. They're totally disconnected from the world. That's what we're imagining that is a holy person. But that's not holy. The real Kedusha, our Kedusha, is that we are not separated from the world. Very easy to be separated from the world. I also wish, no offense to anybody, I also wish to be separated from the world. If it was up to me, you wouldn't see me. I would be in some moshav on some mountain here in the Golan with a little goat to have what to drink, and I would sit and learn Torah all day long. That would be my wish, by the way. But that's not what Hashem wants me to do. If it was up to me, I would be in a cave somewhere. And I would have a few tomato bushes and some cucumbers, and I told you maybe a goat to have some milk, and I would live very simple. Don't have to wear suits. I would wear some jalabiya and eat a little bit of bread in the morning and say and learn Torah all day long. Who needs this headache? Who needs to run to the bank twice a day and pay bills and deal with the world? But that's what Hashem wants from me. I can easily do it, hypothetically. I can go and buy myself a little tent and stick it in some mountain here in the Golan. No problem. I'm fine. I know how to dig water from the ground. There's a lot of well springs here in the north. Yeah, we can make it work. I don't know necessarily if my kids will be so happy about it, but nevertheless, I would be very happy. But you would think that that's what it means, Ish Kadosh. Oh, he's so holy, don't disturb him. Wait, but our Kedusha is when you are in this world. You're not separated from the world. And if you are so separated from the world, how are you going to be holy? How are you going to deal with the world? If nobody's annoying you, how can you control your anger? If nobody's in your face all day long, how can you control and refine your midot? Very easy to be. If I'm going to be on some mountain here in the Galil, of course I'll never get upset. Why would I get upset? Who will upset me? The flowers. So, when do I get upset? Whoa, when I'm in a city and I'm standing in line and this guy's pushing and this guy's taking, and then I have to deal with my anger and whoa, no, hold your mouth. Don't start slandering, don't start lying and cheating and looking to the wrong direction. Oh, now let's see you being holy. Not when you're in the middle of nowhere. In Hebrew we say, ma chokhmah. Put somebody now in the middle of nowhere. What's the big deal to be so holy? Let's see you be holy when you're in the middle of the action. Oh, zeh chokhmah. Let's see now the wisdom here. So, going back to our parasha, the parasha starts with a lot of mitzvot. If you notice, they start with very easy mitzvot. Why very easy mitzvot? I hope you maybe review a little bit the parasha before you come to the class, that it's not so foreign. But the mitzvot in the beginning of the parasha, very, very easy mitzvot. Why easy? So it will be easy for me to stay in the game. If it would start right away hard, that's too much for me. When I became observant, I didn't do big mitzvot. I didn't observe Shabbat. It took me 3 years before I started observing Shabbat. Shabbat was too much for me. I would just hear the word Shabbat, I started hyperventilating. You know what I used to do as mitzvot? I used to wash my hands and say, Asher yatzar et adam b'chokhmah, when I went out of the bathroom. That was for me, that's it. That was enough mitzvah for the day. I would do very small mitzvot. Same thing here. The parasha starts with easy mitzvot to keep you in the loop, to keep you in the game. And the parasha is coming to tell you, if you follow all the mitzvot in this parasha, is fulfill the Torah, but with regular life. Follow the Torah, but live a normal life. Have a job, have a house, eat, bathe. Live your life like a normal human being, but with Torah and mitzvot. Don't pitom now become a Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. You are not Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. You will never be Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Live in this world. And this is to be kadosh. Let's see you in this world, fulfilling now the mitzvot. And the Torah comes in very, very soft. Let's start with the little ones. So, in order for me to understand again, what does it mean to be kadosh? So I gave a little example what it means not to be holy. Now let's see what it means to be holy. The hint is in the parasha before us. The parasha that we read last week, Achrei Mot. What is Achrei Mot? After the death of the sons of Aaron. Now what really happened there? Let's review it real quick so we can understand really what's the hint there. The parasha is coming and telling me about the death of the two sons of Aaron HaKohen. What happened there? They build the Mishkan. Everybody's excited, waiting for the day. Finally, they erect the Mishkan. 7 days, nothing happens. Aaron HaKohen is all trembling. He's afraid he's going to be now judged because he was participating in the sin of the golden calf. Finally, the 8th day, this unbelievable ceremony. Everybody's gathered, can't wait. and in the middle of the speak, boom, the two sons of Aaron die. Oh, how did you flip this whole day from such a joyous day to a day of mourning? Okay. So the whole parasha that precedes this parasha is talking about the death of the sons of Aaron. Now, what does the Torah explain to me that they died? The Torah, very briefly, in different places, it tells me three things. It tells me much more than three, but three we're going to review. One of them, it tells me that what did they do? They offered a esh zara, a foreign fire. They came with a fire from somewhere. Whoa! What are you, a rebel? Who told you to bring this fire? Did I tell you to bring this fire? Why are you coming with esh zara? This is a rebellious act. And you calling me kadosh? That doesn't look so holy to me. Why don't you follow the orders? Next part in the Torah, what does it say? That they came into the service drunk. Oh, so not only that you are a rebel, you're a drunk too? You coming to the service drunk? What's going on with you? And the third explanation, what the Torah says, they didn't have kids. Oh, so now you don't want to take responsibility. And to get married, it's taking on yourself responsibility. I know men, they say, I don't want to have responsibility. I want to be one night here, one night here, one night here. Kids? I don't want to have kids. So when we're looking at the sons of Aaron, they didn't listen to the rules. They came with a foreign fire, Esh Zara. They came in drunk. What do you think, this is a party? You're coming in drunk here? And they didn't want to take any responsibility. What are you telling me here? They don't look so holy. But nevertheless, after they died, what does Moshe Rabbeinu tell Aaron? Ata yadati, now I know they're greater than us. And they were called Kedoshim, they were holy. So, just to understand a little bit, I mean, we know that they did come in, they drank wine. And right away we got the commandment, this is the last parasha, right away Hashem says to the Kohanim, you can't come in with drinking wine. But nevertheless, you know, I'm sure you know the famous quote, Nichnas yain yatsa sod, wine came in, sod came out, same gematria of 70. But nevertheless, they didn't become drunk because they wanted to be drunk. They wanted to have a very high spiritual experience. So the point we want to take from that is that they wanted to be separated. There's another story in the Torah, more in the oral Torah, about a certain individual that also didn't want to be married. I'm sure you know about Ben Azai. He was the student of Rabbi Akiva. Now we're mourning the death of the students of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, after 24,000 students died, there were left a few others, pillars, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Meir. One of them was Rabbi Ben Azai. Now, Rabbi Akiva had a daughter, and he, of course, was looking for a good shidduch. He didn't go on J-date. He says, listen, I have a yeshiva, I have some good students here, and I want for my daughter the best of the best. So he goes to his student Ben Azai, and he tells him, I want you to marry my daughter. Of course, the student of the Rebbe, you think he's going to argue? The Rebbe is telling me, of course. He says, of course, no problem. The Talmud actually says, it's more can be found in the Tosfot, that they actually never get married. They just got engaged. But nevertheless, he goes and he marries her. Not necessarily, don't get now to the point of if he got engaged or married, because the Talmud says they got married, the Tosfot says they never got married, they just got engaged. But nevertheless, Ben Azai marries the daughter of Rabbi Akiva, and after a while he tells her, you know what, I thought about it, Chashka nafshi b'Torah, my soul is just yearning for the Torah, I can't be with you. And he divorced her. And he devoted his life to Torah. Now we all know what was his end. When four rabbis, four sages went into the orchard, into the Pardes, Rabbi Akiva went in peace and came out in peace, but Ben Azai tzitz v'met. He died. So, and Pardesh, of course, is the realm of Kedusha. So, we see the sons of Aaron HaKohen, they didn't want to marry, they wanted to be separated, they wanted to be holy. They drank a little bit of wine because they wanted to be elevated to a much higher spiritual level. As we said before, Nichnas yain yatsa sod, you put in a little bit of wine, you open up some spiritual receptives. They didn't come here in a mischievous way. They just wanted to have a much higher spiritual experience. And nevertheless, they didn't want to get married. They wanted to be holy. Same thing with Ben Azai. So if they were so holy, why did they die? Both the sons of Aaron and Ben Azai, if they're so holy, so they shouldn't have died. They should have been the next leaders. You know that Nadav was shakul keneged kulam. Nadav was the first one. It says Nadav, in his level, was greater than Avihu, Elazar, and Itamar. That's why it says, if you're looking at the parasha, it says Nadav, Avihu, ve'Avihu. Sorry, Nadav, Avihu, ve'Elazar, ve'Itamar. So Nadav, the Torah says, was greater than all of them. And then Avihu, they came in order. So if they're so holy, and let's also go to Ben Azai, who was one of the greatest students that Rabbi Akiva had. If they're so holy, why did they die? Because the answer is very simple. Because in Judaism, that's not how you become holy. By separating yourself, that's not how the Torah wants you to be holy. The Torah tells you very particular, I'm not interested here in a monk. I'm not interested in you going and being segregated from the world. I want you to be holy in this world, with your mortgage, with your problems, with your anger, with everything. Now let's see you be holy. So the challenge here of being a Jew is to be holy in this world. Very easy. Like I told you, I can go now and live on some mountain. I'll be very holy. I'll never get angry. Because who's going to get me upset? I'll never be judgmental. What am I going to be? Judgmental at the goat? Of course it's going to be easy for me to be holy. I want to be holy here when I have to deal with this world. So that's the challenge. So what is not to be holy? Don't run away. Don't run away from the reality. The reality is Hashem put you here. And that's what Hashem wants you. So if this is the case, so what does it mean to be holy? I now understood what it means not to be holy. Don't run away. I have to be involved here. So what does it mean? What does it mean to be holy? So there is a story that I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to give you the opinion, the way how the Ramban approaches it, which is just beautiful to see this approach. Many years ago, about 250 years ago, was a great scholar known as the Baal HaTanya. And at the time, he had a friend who was known as Rabbi Shlomo from Karlin. He was not the first in the dynasty of Karlin, but nevertheless, he was the descendant, and he was a friend with the Baal HaTanya. Great tzaddik. Some people have the zchut to learn a little bit from the teachings of the Karliner, or however they say it in the Yiddish accent. I'm not so good at that, but nevertheless, the teaching is unbelievable, and the Baal HaTanya and the Rabbi Shlomo from Karlin were very good friends. One time, Rabbi Shlomo from Karlin came to Liadi to visit the Baal HaTanya. Big meeting, the two tzaddikim are meeting together. They made a big feast. And this is you're talking about Russia, Ukraine, very cold there. So what do you serve for food? You serve soup. Okay. Rabbi Shlomo from Karlin comes, they sit, and now suddenly the Rabbanit, the wife of the Baal HaTanya, says, "Ooh, I forgot to put salt in the soup." So she comes right before they take the soup out, and whoop, she pours in a nice amount of salt, mixes it up, and they're about to take it out. A minute later, the daughter says, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to put salt." So she goes and whoop, puts salt in the soup, mixes it up. A minute later, the cook there says, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to put salt." They put salt in the soup. And then the cleaning lady and then the maid, and by the time it came out, it was like the Dead Sea. Okay. The Baal HaTanya starts eating and eating and eating and eating. And he's looking at everybody, his good friend, Rabbi Shlomo from Karlin, his entourage, and he tells them, "Why aren't you not eating?" So it says there must have been some type of a mistake. Maybe too much salt went into the soup. It's very salty. What, you don't even notice? He finished already his soup, the Baal HaTanya. What does he answers? He tells them, when I was in Mazrij, the Baal HaTanya was a great scholar. When he was, I believe it was 18, don't take my word for that, I think he was 18, he was already a giant. When he was a bar mitzvah boy, he would teach Talmud in depth with Tosfot and Mefarshim to all the great sages. He was a brilliant mind. When he was 18, and again, don't take my word, I think maybe, I 99% think he was 18. Not so relevant. Then he wanted to go to the next level. So what was the options to go? Was to go to Vilna, where the Gaon from Vilna was, and that was the capital of Torah. But there were two options to go. Either you go to Vilna, or what's the other option? You go to Mazrij, to learn from the Magid from Mazrij, the successor of the Baal Shem Tov. So he decided to go to Mazrij. Why? Because he says in Vilna, they teach you how to learn Torah. He's like, I know how to learn Torah. I know Torah. In Mazrij, they teach you how to pray. I need to know how to pray. I need to know how to connect myself with Hashem. Nevertheless, he went to Mazrij. When they asked him, how come he's not tasting the salt? He told them, from the time that I was in Mazrij, I was able to work on myself, that since then, I don't feel any taste in food. I don't want to enjoy food in this world. So I brought myself to such a high spiritual point that I don't even taste what's in the food. The Ramban, not the Rambam, Rambam is Maimonides, Ramban, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, he says, you know what it means to be holy? To stop in the middle. Not to bring the satisfaction that the desire wants you to bring to a peak. You know what it means to stop in the middle? That's what it means to be holy. Not to move to some segregated island and to be you and the Creator. It's to be in this world, but the Yetzer Hara constantly will feed you. And you know what he feeds you? He wants you to have pleasure. He will give you a good meal, a nice comfortable bed, beautiful clothes. The Yetzer Hara constantly wants to feed you. You know why? Because then you become a very good patient, a very good client, a customer. If you followed some of the classes that I gave before Pesach, I was explaining that the Yetzer Hara, he wants to feed you with te'ava, with a desire for something that you are permitted. You know why? Because once you have pleasure from anything that this world gave you, he has you in his hook. That's it. Once you indulge on something in this world, he already hooked you, because you come back for more. The Ramban says, you know what it means to be kadosh? Stop in the middle. In the middle of the peak, where you're about to have the best of the steak is about to come out. Okay, let me have the check, please. The check? You just had the hors d'oeuvres. The steak is coming out. No, I had enough. Basically, his words, lo lehavi lesi et hasipuk ma'yetzer. Not to bring to the most exciting part when the yetzer, the desire, wants to give you some pleasure. Just to know how to cut it. To do what you need to do, but don't go overboard. I keep saying it all the time. Sanctify yourself where you are permitted. You're allowed to eat. What it means, kadesh et atzmecha b'mutar lecha. Sanctify yourself where you are permitted. You are permitted to eat. It doesn't mean that you have to eat steaks every day. It doesn't mean that all day long you need to sit in restaurants and dine and, I want that wine and that wine. I also love food, but during the week I barely eat. Barely eat. Why? Shabbat, you can pleasure on the food. So, take something from this world, but don't go overboard. Don't let the world feed you, because we are so hungry for this good taste in our life. Everybody wants to have a good meal. Everybody wants to be dressed in nice clothes. Everybody wants to have a nice car, a nice home, a beautiful vacation. Pleasure here, pleasure there, of course. Why wouldn't you want to? Why would you want to go with an old phone that the model doesn't exist anymore when you can buy the brand new iPhone XT 3.4 Turbo, whatever it's called? So our nature is to get the best of the best. But this is just the te'ava, the desire to have more and more and more. Kedoshim tiyu, be holy, what the Torah says. In Hebrew it's called me'upak, restrained. Know how to, I don't need this right now. When I became observant, I had to change my life. I was 27, going on 28. I knew that to get into the program will take time. Meaning to go into yeshiva and start learning Torah. I knew that will take time. But my practice in the beginning is to stop myself from jumping on things that I really, really want. Is to know how to restrain, how to stop. And I always give the same example. I have many other examples, but I find it to be very clear. Everybody has weaknesses, everybody has desires, everybody has things that they love. I love coffee. I can drink 20 cups a day, especially if it's good coffee. In America, the coffee is disgusting. I was now 2.5 weeks in America. Finally, at the end, one of the last stops, I was in Florida. I have a friend who has a restaurant there. I go there, he gives me coffee. Oh, Baruch Hashem, after 2 weeks, I'm getting a good cup of coffee here. So, yeah, of course, no. My friend is Israeli. It's an Israeli restaurant. I don't know if I'm allowed to start now doing a promotion for him. It's a good restaurant. Nevertheless, normal coffee. Baruch Hashem, 2 weeks, I'm running on this black water. So every time my wife tells me, do you miss us? I miss you and I miss my coffee. So I love coffee. But, you know when I have my first cup of coffee? Not at 6 o'clock in the morning. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Why? Because I restrain. It's very easy to me to run now and make a cup of coffee. But no, put it under control. So now comes 10, comes 12. Let me have the coffee. You know what, my Mr. Yetzer Hara? I'm running the shots here. I'm going to have my coffee at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I call the shots. And sometimes, don't you think, sometimes we're learning here 6 o'clock in the morning, especially in the winter, everybody's like that. Look at the videos of the classes that we have from the morning, all you see is steam. Because the camera is right here. There are videos like that. And everybody's sitting around the table, all you see the steam. And this guy's with the Turkish coffee, this guy's with the Brazilian coffee. Don't you think I want also a cup of coffee? Rabbi, should I make you a cup of coffee? No, it's okay. I'll have my cup of coffee at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes I have my coffee at 6 o'clock in the evening. Not because I don't want to. If it was up to me, I would have 10 cups a day. But the point is to know how to להתאפק, to be restrained, to put, no. I know there's no sin to drink coffee, by the way. It doesn't say anywhere in the Torah. I looked in the entire Shulchan Aruch. If there's any sin to have coffee, there's no sin to have coffee. But I don't have to. But I love it. Sazma, if you love it. Control yourself. This is Kedoshim to you. Live in this world when there's temptations around you and you say, no, this I don't need. I'll give you another example. A few years ago, I told you that for many years when we started our organization, I was dreading the fact that a non-for-profit needs funds, needs money. I was like, I'm not going to fundraise. I am not asking for donation. For many years, I had a business. I said, I will have a business. My business will fund my own organization. Shalom al Israel. You know, many years, there wasn't even a donate button on my website. And Baruch Hashem, it worked very well. A few years ago, my rabbi told me, stop with it. You need to be devoted to what you do. Close the business. Be devoted to what you do, to your outreach and everything that you do. Don't worry, everything will be fine. But the point is that a few years before that, I had a business. Business was doing very well. And I shared that not once and not twice. I have another weakness in this world, not only for coffee, also for beautiful cars. That was my Yetzer Hara when I was young. All my cars were beautiful cars. I will just drool on the cars. Now I was in Miami, that's a very dangerous place. Lamborghinis everywhere, and I'm like getting distracted. Wow, do you see that Ferrari? What's going on here? You know, and when we first got married, my wife and me, we used to need to go somewhere to a vacation. We used to go to South Florida. And every second car there is like, and my wife was so happy. She was like, I'm so happy. You know, other men, they look at other women. You look at cars. So that's another one of my weaknesses. Not too long ago, I was in a lecture. I said that. At the end of the lecture, some guy waits to the end of the lecture, and he comes to me, says to me, do you want to take my car for a ride? And I was like, no, it's okay. No, sure. You said you like nice cars. You can take my car for a ride. And I was like, and I see this gorgeous BMW M12, this flat, looks like a jet, doors open up. I was like, I told him, no, it's okay. And in my mind, my Yetzer Hara, what are you doing? Take the car. So it's another one of my weaknesses. I love beautiful cars. So a few years ago, it was probably like 8 years ago, not a few, then business was doing well. I wanted to buy a nice car. And they came out with this beautiful promotion. and it was a beautiful Jeep Mercedes, these gorgeous, the big ones, the 550L, the big Jeep was for nothing. In America, you can get nothing for nothing. And I was about to take the car. It was very cheap. And Baruch Hashem, my wife told me, you don't need such a car. Why do you need to drive such a beautiful car? Yeah, you know, Honda is also a nice car. And it was such a, not only that, it was really to say, okay, I really don't need this car. And it wasn't that it was far-fetched. It was very, very accessible. And it wasn't expensive at all. It was the end of the year. They wanted to get rid of cars, whatever. The lease was so low. And I was like, look at that. I can have a beautiful car for nothing. But for me, I'm just giving you my personal examples. You relate with it however you want. You take it to your own life. I have to give my examples. I can't give other examples. But for me, that was a huge challenge. And it was like, okay, I'm not going to go with something that I want so much. I literally was like drooling. I'm going to have this gorgeous car. No, I have to have... and I got a Honda. And it was a nice car. You know, it had 4 wheels. And it took me from point A to point B. That's it. So the point is that you ask yourself, what does it mean to be holy? Kedoshim tihiyu. Apply restraint in everything that you do. Tiyeh mupak. You know, there's a story that one woman came to the rabbi and she's holding a chicken. And she tells the rabbi, this chicken fell into the sewer. Is this chicken still kosher? Can I eat the chicken? So he tells her, well, it stinks, but it's still kosher. So there are many things in our life that are kosher. Doesn't smell good. It's not for you. You are a holy Jew. It's not for you. That's what I always tell my kids. Yeah, it's kosher to do, but it stinks. Tiyeh kadosh. Hold yourself in a little bit of higher level. You don't have to be what they call a chazer. You don't have to jump on everything. Hold yourself. As we say, kadesh et atzmecha b'mutar lecha. Sanctify yourself with what you are permitted. And this is really what it means, kedoshim tihiyu. Even when I have a tehava is a lust, a desire, a strong tehava for something that is permitted, food or whatever it is, control it. Don't jump on the coffee. Don't jump on the cake. How many times people come here in the class, they bring a box full of rogolach. Oh, just from the smell, you want to faint. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I go to the mikveh. You know, that's when the bakery, when they do it. It's a hard part of my day. It's confusing to go to the mikveh, to go to the bakery, to go to the mikveh, to go to the bakery. It's like in the cartoons when you have this the scent. I'm like the rogalach. Wake up once at 4 o'clock in the morning. You'll smell. You know what I'm talking about. How many times they come here with a box of rogalach and I see people like this small share eating and eating and eating. Control yourself. Have one cookie. No, you don't have to have 17 of them. Kedusha, holiness, is to do the will of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. What is the will of the Kadosh Baruch Hu? Live in this world. Live in this world. Realize that everything is from Hashem. No coincidence, no mistakes. Everything comes from Hashem. Appreciate that everything comes from Hashem. Serve Hashem in every free moment that you have. Be devoted to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Your life has to be devoted. This is Kedoshim tihiyu. I'm giving you now a quick rundown. What Hashem wants. We talked about in the beginning that Hashem wants something from us. So, live in this world, but serve Hashem and thank Hashem and appreciate everything that Hashem does for you. And serve Hashem at any given moment. And a holy person is a person who is devoted to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. With his anger, with his jealousy, with being judgmental, with being hurt, with being angry and sad and depressed and anxiety and fears, but you're still connected to Hashem with all the things that you have to deal with. And that's why the parasha gives us very simple mitzvot. There's no big mitzvot in this parasha. All of them are simple. You know why? To tell you that's the real Kedusha. Do the simple mitzvot. Don't think you'll ever be a Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. You will never be. Hashem wants you to be a good individual, honest. What are the mitzvot in this Torah? Lo tignov. Don't steal. Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Love another person. The mitzvah of tzedakah, giving leket and peah, leaving from your produce to the poor people. Look at the mitzvot in this Torah. Simple mitzvot. Don't have to be so sophisticated. That's kadosh. You want to be kadosh? You want to be separated? You want to be on the winning team of Hashem? Be a simple person and do it with all your heart. And don't jump on everything that moves, and definitely don't be a slave to your te'avah. You control your te'avah, even in the things that you are permitted. And you live your life in a much more clear and refined way. And that's how we fulfill this ultimate mitzvah, what Rashi says, Yesod Gadol BaTorah, the foundation of the Torah. To be Kedoshim, Tiyu Kedoshim, I have to be Kadosh. So that's it, very simple. Hold yourself in a holy manner, and we are fulfilling the mitzvah that is one of the most dear to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, of that we should be holy. Kedoshim Tiyu, Ki Kadosh Ani.